What are you waiting for?
Play. Did you hit the button?
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Hey, it's Rob. Welcome to Axel's Garage. All right, so in an effort not to be so wordy because people say I talk too much, I got the big dummy behind the camera. It's a nice Sunday morning, and we're out here with the square. And what we're going to talk about today is something real simple, and I've been seeing it a lot on and off the last couple of months, especially through the winter in the forums, is excessive cranking on a cold start. And it doesn't have to be necessarily cold, it's just the vehicle sitting for a while. Sitting overnight seems to be the most prevalent. In one of the Facebook groups for square bodies, there was a guy who said every morning he comes out to his truck, gets in it, and it cranks excessively, and then it'll eventually start, and he'll drive it, you know, a few blocks away to the local gas station, get his morning coffee, come back out to it, and it starts right up. And then he's good for the day until the next morning. And aside from battery issues, now, if you have a good charging system and a good battery and you have no battery issues, there are some fuel things that could make these vehicles do that. But one thing which is not a problem is the fuel prime in these systems. Remember, these squares that had fuel injection, it was a primitive fuel injection of the time. It's actually just a computer carburetor, I call them. They all have fuel injectors, but it's really like a carburetor, and you got to get that fuel up to the carburetor, similar to guys that had old carburetor cars. So where the fuel doesn't pump unless the engine's cranking. Well, in these things, it's electric, and I bought one new in 1990, and when I bought it, the salesman actually told me, he goes, turn the ignition on, wait 2 seconds, and then crank it, and it always starts right up, and it always started right up. And that's the same thing we do with this one here. Every time I get in it, I do the same thing, even when it's already warmed up, and it starts relatively easily. Now they do have issues with the fuel pump relay, and if that's your problem, then you have a problem. But most people don't have a problem. They think they do, and it's just the way they're starting a vehicle. So this thing's been sitting for a few days. It's good weather, so it's not necessarily a cold start, but it's been sitting for a few days, and we're just going to show you what we do to start it up. All right, so I got the big dummy behind the camera, and he is down at that angle because what he is he's right next to the fuel tank, and we want to hear that fuel pump. So the best way to start these things, especially when they get older, because what happens is when they're parked, the fuel does sort of drain off. It's supposed to keep a little bit of residual pressure in it, but it doesn't, especially after 30 some odd years of being a vehicle here. So what I do, it's very simple, and the reason why the camera's down there is so that you can hear that pump. So I'm just going to turn the ignition on. All right, and did you hear that for about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds max? You heard that fuel pump spin up and then stop. What that did was pressurize the system. So that's your prime. And if you just wait that 1.5 seconds, turn the ignition on, wait that 1.5 seconds, what I told the big dummy when he first got this was that little chime that chimed when you first turn the ignition. I said, wait for the chime to end. The chime ends about 1 second after the fuel pump stops pumping. So if you just wait for that chime to end, right, and now you turn the ignition, right, starts right up, and that's the exhaust, and that's it. So just given that little delay is going to help out. Now I hope this video helps somebody out there who's saying, why does it crank excessively and then start up and then run fine? Hopefully I didn't talk too much for all the commenters that like to say I talk too much. It's a nice day. We're going to get some work done around the house. No cars today. It's the honey-do list, and we're going to trim some trees and cut some grass and do all that kinds of stuff. Enjoy your weekend. Hope you liked the video. If you did, thumbs up. And if you like what we're doing here at Axel's Garage with the car stuff, the truck stuff, the food truck stuff, all the big dummy and the little big dummy stuff, and our honey-do list, subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.